BLOCKTALES.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of BLOCKTALES. My name is Sarah and today I have Sunny with me and I'm really looking forward to the next episode because she did so many amazing things. And yeah, Sunny, please give us a short introduction about yourself.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to have me here. It's a great pleasure to be in this episode. Well, my name is Sunny Jiang. I'm based in Maastricht, the Netherlands. And while I'm quite active in the blockchain and Web3 space in recent years, okay, that's basically my information. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we always start with one question, and I think it's so nice because we always ask, how would you explain your Web3 everyday life to your grandmother?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, I would say. Well, to be frank, I think we can compare to internet 20 years ago, how we explained that to grandma as well. We don't need to explain what is HTTP protocol. We don't need to explain how Wi-Fi works. I think the best way is that how do they benefit from it, right? So I would say what we are doing now, we are driving Web3. That exactly is the internet of value of future. So people have more ownership of their own data, and then, well, they so that is freedom for everyone. So I think I would focus on benefits.
Okay, thank you so much for your explanation. So maybe let's start with your personal story. So when and why did you decide to go to the blockchain space? And yeah, maybe you can tell us your personal story, why you decided to work in that area and what you like about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little bit background is that I have computer science, yeah, and also international business background. So in that sense, to explore new technology for me is very natural. And especially, I also work very closely in the startup ecosystem in the Netherlands. So for me, well, I say things happened. For instance, well, around 2018, around 2020, there are, yeah, that's exactly the last wave of building time. I would say after the Bitcoin, well, somehow they call it crash in 2018. And so a lot of companies they use DLT technology for instance, in healthcare, because I work in a life science and healthcare in a sector. So I noticed these trends. And on top of that, myself, I also love the arts very much. And during my training in Sotheby's Institute of Art in London, I also noticed that the biggest auction house, Sotheby's, sorry, the Christie's, they hosted a very very good blockchain arts symposium by them. Then I noticed that okay, it is already somehow people really start to address the technology for the application in different industry and our use cases. So that's excited me quite a lot because I saw there's a really very big uh, let's say future or to apply this technology. So and then I dive it a little bit more, and exactly in 2000, I think last year 2021, well, we call that make our own hands that dirty. So basically, I did a lot of experiments of crypto and NFT, a lot of things. So I collect as well, I invest as well. On top of it, I just allocate a small budget for myself. Those money we call that okay, you can afford if you lose it. Yeah? So those kind of amount, and then I just do whatever. So for instance, I work out strategy, well, kind of trading strategy myself in the crypto. So then I adjust the strategy to see how does it work. And also for the NFT, I analyze myself why certain projects are really standing out, why not, or why they are successful. And so there's a lot of fun that I find it's very interesting. Interesting the whole algorithm behind are very attractive for me. And then I decide, okay, why not to launch an NFT myself? So that's why last year I did I did an experiment together with two Dutch local, let's say, artists. And so we in fact launched a generative art NFT project. That's really well, we really spent around 3 months to make it because we want to have a high quality of NFT. And in that project, I'm responsible for everything about blockchain, for instance, testnet, test everything, smart contract, metadata, all those kind of things. So to be frank, it's not that because I know I do it, it's because I want to know I do it. So wow, I really love the learning by doing. So by launching this project, I would say I know exactly every step of how you create an NFT. So that is a great start, I would say, last year. And then this year, wow, the whole year is amazing with Frankfurt, I would say Frankfurt School Blockchain Center, and being the talents in the program, you are also one of it, and later on also mentor. So I would say a lot of exploration, learning, also great network value with so much amazing people. That's a really wow. I really appreciate to it. So yeah, that's how I am. I'm now here. Yeah.
Wow. So I think this is a really impressive start. So you said you really want to understand the technology and the parts of the NFTs. And this is why you decided to make your own project. This is like really a tough path to go. It's not the easy thing. So how did you experience your first steps? Like, was it possible for you to go all those steps, or was it like really hard and you imagined it a lot easier?
Mm, well, yeah, I have somehow, programming for me is not that difficult, and of course, I need to understand. I need to understand the whole thing, right? Because the settings are quite different. And so, for instance, if you talk about smart contract, you talk about solidity, and of course, it's new. It's a new language, but okay, it's not that difficult for me to understand a lot. Yeah, because well, my bachelor is computer science. So, but of course, during my work, I'm not programming, I'm not software engineer. But for me, not that difficult to, for instance, really spend some time to dive into it to understand what does it mean. And then I find it very helpful on all the documents. Normally, for instance, in OpenSea, they have test nets as well. And they also have documents for developer. So all those kind of documents for developer in the website are very helpful. So just go through it, and then yeah, it's a way of learning, and then just try a little bit. Yeah, something like that.
Wow, really impressive, I guess. So, if it's okay, I would love to talk a little about your experiences from the hackathon, because I think not so many, especially women, go to a hackathon. And I read that you went this year to ETH Lisbon, and you also went to ETH San Francisco. And I know that you got two amazing prizes for the Metaverse and for a Scale Labs for two projects. And I think it's so interesting for our audience to hear some of your experiences. How did you decide to go there? How did you find a team? How did you work? And yeah, just let us know some of your thoughts.
Yeah, in fact, this year I did four hackathons. One in Berlin, one in
Oh,
Lisbon, and
four. I sorry,
yeah,
I only knew
sorry
two.
to mention
Wow, even more.
yeah, one is in New York and another one in San Francisco. My first one, in fact, started in Berlin in May, and that's one I would say really absolutely began to try hackathon. What I observe is that you only know when you are there, right? And not only that, you learn a lot of new knowledge like protocols. For instance, it's really my first time to know what is Liverpeer, what is Aviv, yeah. And also learns protocol, those kind of decentralized social media and protocol. You don't know that, but when you are there and they are as a part of a sponsor of there, you have a chance to interact with them because they are there. You can ask questions, you can learn more, and then they guide you where you can learn, right? So that's a great opportunity to learn. On the other hand, I also noticed there's a really big trend that a lot of Web2 developer, they start to explore the space, and then they want to switch to Web3 as well. And so that's very interesting in Berlin. I would say partly I would really thanks, for instance, Herdao. They built a very amazing women developer community.
I know
So
them.
that's
They are really great.
that's really encouraging. And even though that you are not, uh, uh, for instance, part of their team, but you can participate to a lot of their program, and also meet other women. So I think that's very supportive, and that in that sense you are not alone, right? So. When I was there, wow, let's see, in fact, I worked with a gaming company. They sent three, four of their software developer there because they are all Web2 developer. They want to learn how to integrate the smart contract or whatever, those kind of Web3 elements to their new game development. So they all come to learn. Even them, they come to learn. So I find it so interesting. Well, in the beginning, I think absolutely it's not targeted to win prize or get bounties, whatever. I think learning is the great motivation for me. And also, you really connect to the amazing people. You know who is responsible, for instance, for Polygon, or who is a person for Near, if we want to go to them, right? So that's part I think is most the motivation for me. And then second part that during a hackathon, in fact, you need to work out a strategy. It is not just that you practice something. You need to work out strategy. That's something. It is a little like a competition, yeah, you need to really decide, because the basically you can go all the directions, but you need to decide which topic you address and what direction you build, with whom you build, what kind of technology you integrate, what's the story behind. So all those things I think is fascinating to work out in just one weekend. So not only the how to make it, the parts of making it, but also the strategy part, how you decide what you do. That's,
I
I think,
understand.
similar like what your our daily life, right? For instance, you decide what work you are going, what career you're going to build. I think it's more or less similar. So you practice in a very very intense way can, and to think about that. I like that very much. It is just like a wow,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Like a marathon. Yeah, because I wanted to ask you about that as well, because you said it's like a very intense weekend. And I know that sometimes it's like something like 48 hours, and people even work or program through the whole night. So, did you do that as well? And is it kind of necessary to really win a prize and be within the best ones?
Wow, let's see. I would say competition with others is there's no meaning, because you can win in this occasion, but doesn't mean that you win out. Yeah, there's no meaning on that. But it's good that well, of course, if there's prize, you win prize or whatever, it's a kind of a good recognition of what you made, because the judge will not only look how you code it, but also the whole concept behind. That will help you to think about, for instance, in the future to build a successful startup, right? That's all about whether the market needs your products, and whether your what you build is really solves the problem. So those are attractive parts. And what I find, yes, very amazing. That I think that's very unique experience I had, is I saw a lot of city in how they look like in 1 a.m. and in 5 a.m., something like that. For instance, yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was in New York, yes, it's so amazing. The first evening, the whole team, yeah, three of us, three ladies, we decided to go to a more quiet place, because the hackathon place sometimes can be crowded, noisy. So wow, it is really amazing that we with a local New Yorker, we went to Soho, Soho. So one you know, Manhattan, one of the Soho place. and we were in one of the room there and discussed what kind of direction we were going to go. And then we tried to really, while brainstorming several hours, in the end, we still don't like what we are going to do. And then okay, it's already late. Then we decide to go to hotel, and then we take taxi together. During the taxi, the idea came up. So sometimes it's really amazing like that. And then from there, yes, from there, and the day after, we decide to really focus on that idea and to build that further. Yeah, and also in San Francisco, so yes, yes. Um, because it was in a very beautiful place, the Academy of Fine Arts, and but it's very cold at that place, I would say, because there's no alcohol. There's no no, there's no heating, and also in November it's already very cold in the nights in San Francisco, and we're all frozen in the when in 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the evening. We all need to dress up really with coats and drink a lot of hot tea or coffee, something like that. But then in the 1 or 2 o'clock, wow, if you're walking outside, you feel so beautiful because it's just next to the Golden Gate, and you saw the stars. Yes, and those experience at that moment, you are thinking of to build something together with the teammates. I would say those experiences really something only you experience that, you know that. And also I stay, yeah, yeah.
It's something about your personal borders and to push them further, so to grow and to leave your comfort zone and to grow personally and also with your skills. I think this is what you're describing, that
Yes,
you
yes,
really
yes.
have
I
to
think
make
you.
certain experiences on your own.
Yes, I think you summarized very well. I think that those are most attractive to me, and also my motivation behind. Also, for instance, during the hackathon in San Francisco, I in fact stayed 2 nights in one of the hacker house, um, from Katasi, and wow, you really feel the energy also from the other hackers. We all stay in a one hacker house. It's walking distance to the hack place, and then in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock, everybody gets up already and towards go back to the hackathon place. You again, you see the stars. Yeah, you saw the stars. It's still dark at that moment, but it's so beautiful, right?
That even sounds magical, to be honest. And there is, because I saw a post from you, I think approximately 1 month ago, and you said, like, I traveled 22,500 kilometers in the past 2 weeks with, I think, something like 6 airports, and you arrived home 30 minutes before your daughter's school. There was a surprise in the school or something like this. And so the question I have is, how do you have so much energy to manage all those things and your family and to keep track of everything? I mean, this is insane. So how did you do this?
Well, I would say a lot of decisions are made. Sometimes are really in the last minute, I would say. In the beginning, I just decided to go to Lisbon, and that is in my plan. And I already applied, for instance, in the summer, in July. So they already accept me as a hacker. So everything's there already. And that is the end of November. So, I basically prepared already 3 months before. So my husband know, okay, I'm going to do this, or he's going to back up, and then okay, everything is prepared. And then sometimes, okay, then in the last minutes, yeah, that's I think it's happened for all the people who experienced the either conference or hackathon in a specific city, because a lot of things happened really in the last week, or maybe last several days. The new things come, and I got invitation from San Francisco. Um, that they say they are going to make a epic events of the year, something like that, and then they want me to go. Then that's really is really just several days before I depart to Lisbon. Then I think, how can that be? Because my flight tickets are already booked. That is return tickets from Lisbon to Netherlands. And then how can that be? So first I quickly check, okay, whether time allows, whether my husband can really back that up, or my work is okay, and and then quickly check also some physical issue like whether there is a solution. For instance, we are which airport to go, and is there tickets, and also the tickets affordable because I just pay myself, right? So all those kind of things.
I
So
know many
yeah,
people do in that space.
yeah.
Yes,
So
sorry.
yeah, so I think it somehow takes the whole evening to try to figure out really a puzzle. It's really a puzzle, and to try to figure out solution, because then you need to cancel that flight, and then you need to book this flight, and then I also already booked to park in my car in the airports. Well, when I heard to Lisbon, then I have to cancel that as well, and then how can I pick my car? So a lot of things. So well, but I would say yes, indeed, there's a lot of challenging, but well, you need to follow your heart, right? So I think at the moment when of course, I question myself, should I go? But at the moment, as I make decisions that yes, I go, the rest is just, yeah, just work out a solution, right? So yeah, that's in the end, I really that's really really was very intensive, I would say, because I have 4 events in Lisbon, and myself is wow. I have a role as a hacker, and also mentoring in the women hack events, and also I participate to, for instance, World Summit, and then also the Firecon celebration. That was a really great one. And I really love the people from Portugal Lab. Yeah, that they are so smart, and then they're really building something great. So okay, from there you need to connect to San Francisco, and then in the end I find a solution um, to go via London. In fact, that's the best way. So wow, in fact, yeah, it is a lot of work, and also I yeah, during such kind of intense travel, I think more or less I adapt myself to it as well. For instance, I really know what's the most efficient way um, to handle the information. Also, a lot of stress, I would say. Yes, because you need to handle work, you need to handle and the information from all the directions, and also you need to prepare well for your hackathon, something like that. A lot of stress as well. But I think I always I have the optimized sets, travel sets for myself. So I always know that set I have that set, I'm fine already.
That's so amazing. I think you're very good with planning, and I really have the feeling that you're really passionate about blockchain and about learning. So, because I'm thinking quite often, like I have the feeling that you gained a lot of knowledge because you said you only started like 1 year ago with the NFT project with a real deep dive, and so I'm questioning myself, what are your secrets of learning? How are you able to keep track and learn so much at the same time? And I had the feeling that you always push yourself into really challenging situations, and this is how you grow and learn. But yeah, please let us know what is your secret of learning and growing.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that's really a beautiful question. Well, yes, indeed, I like very much to yes to put myself in a challenging situation, because in that sense I have to find a solution, right? So I think my principle, I think it's also many people's principle, that is learning by doing. Just do, and not just browse some information. You really need to do it. So and then I think a good way to do it, of course you can just practice it, but if you make it very official, for instance, you say, I'm going to launch an NFT project, then you put yourself in a great pressure, because you have to perform it well, right? Because it's not only for yourself, you also for your teammates, right? So in that sense, I think you will find a way. Really, you will find a way. Sometimes I understand if you just without pressure, you learn. Well, you sometimes you say, "Oh, I learned today. Okay, I also can learn tomorrow." So it's fine. And then in the end, after 1 week, you're still not learning. But I think if you put yourself sometimes in pressure, and especially make it more official, and you really need to do it right. So that is one. And second, I think it's really good to try to have some responsibility. For instance, to get a role in a nonprofit organization or advisory role to some companies. Then in that sense, I fully agree also with Professor uh, Isabel. What she said, that a great way to learn is to teach. In fact, so looks like, yeah, it looks like not logical, but it is, because if you are able to mentor others or teach others, you really need to understand what is that, right? Otherwise, you're talking, you don't know what you're
Absolutely.
talking, right? So I find another way which is very
And the
good is,
others will realize this, and then you
yeah,
have a
exactly.
problem. Sorry.
Yeah, because if you really don't, if you don't understand it, you can't mentor others. You also can't teach others. So that is another way. I'm so appreciate that I got some roles, for instance, as a mentor in the talents Web3 talents program in Frankfurt. So I think that's also a way for myself to learn, right? And during the interaction with the talents, you find that they have really different angles, and in that way, on the one hand you share your knowledge, but on the other hand you also learn more from it. So I would sum up a little bit. One is learning by doing, put yourself in a really official situation, then you have to act and perform well. And second is kind of um, learn by teaching, right? So try to mentor others or teach others, and then you force yourself to really, really understand it. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really interesting. So, do you have had, or only if you want to let us know, any negative experiences? And it's not about the negativity, but it's about the possibility for others to learn and to grow and maybe not make the same mistakes?
Um, well, yeah, I would say everybody's unique and everybody has different stage. Just follow the best way of their own. I think that's best, because, for instance, my approach or maybe my tempo or how I did maybe is not suitable to another person, right? So it is like that. But I would say not less in the reflect of learning of others, but more sometimes I also feel the frustration is that there's really a big gap at this moment from traditional world with Web3 world, I would say, and the gap is bigger than we imagine. And because we are in it, we
So
are
this is so important. So sorry to interrupt, but how do you deal with that gap and that those feelings in between and those, you believe in the technology, but the real world is kind of um yeah, it's negative about crypto. And so what are your thoughts on that, and how do you handle that gap?
yes, yes, that is exactly something I want to change. I think that's another big motivation for me next year. During my interaction with a lot of people, I would say they are great people in their field, right? And I realized, wow, we are really in different worlds. Last time I tried to approach,
Yes, we are
yeah,
sometimes.
mm, I tried to approach a director who is working in the medium, more precisely in a traditional TV channel, locally in the Netherlands. I tried to persuade him to make a kind of TV series or video series to really give some highlights to the emerging stage of Web3 in this region in the Netherlands, because there's nothing. I would say there's very little activity, there's very little highlight and talks here. But then I realized that, wow, whatever turns, because they are not in it, it's so difficult for them to understand. And I think what I talked to him for half an hour, I think he need half a day to digest it. I think basically,
Wow.
really, really, he didn't get it. He doesn't understand why we need to do that. And then I think, okay, maybe that's too pushing. That's because we are already in this stage. Then we think, okay, based on this stage, we should move this stage. But if they are not in this stage yet, that for them is really too big a gap and too big a move. They can't make it. And also, I'm somehow frustrated a little bit is that I saw, I don't know what the situation in the other country, but at least in the Netherlands, I didn't see any academic university. They have official diploma and courses for students to learn Web3 and the blockchain. And it's all integrated, somehow integrated a little bit in the finance, a little bit in the business, a little bit in the computer science, a little, well, there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of focus in artificial intelligence that I know because there are specific
Mm-hmm.
master degree, bachelor degree for artificial intelligence, data science, but nobody is. My feeling is that it's not that they can't do it; it's that they are not ready to do it. Maybe partly because of the regulation, because they are afraid when they
Mm-hmm.
talk about crypto to the students. Yeah, somehow they. I think there's an older image and they link crypto to criminal, right? So, so
Yes,
that
and sometimes only to
yeah.
the coins and not to the technology.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I find it really pity that's how to say delays the progress of developing this technology, and also the developing of the region as well, because this is really the future. So this is something I saw the gap. I'm somehow frustrated because it's not easy at all to interact with the people who are not in it. Of course, people will say education is a big deal. Yes, it is a big deal, but I think it's not just a matter of education. It is also a matter of everything need to catch up. For instance, regulation, right? There's no specific crypto regulation back in the Netherlands. Everybody is waiting for Mika, and I think that's I
Mm-hmm.
think
Exactly.
from that point of view, I think we are one step or even more steps behind. For instance, behind Germany, because if you want to launch your security token, you can do now already, but in Netherlands I can't. So that is something I find
Oh, wow.
frustrating
I didn't know that.
somehow. Yeah, but on the other hand, I also notice not only my frustration, but also many startups who is going to build at this moment. And in the beginning, I observed that they are very ambitious to land it people in Web3. And after half year, after 1 year, there's no adoption. That means there's no business, right? And then they have to adapt themselves back. Not saying go back to Web 2, but everybody's looking for so-called Web 2.5 solution at this moment. So yeah, that is something
2.5.
I,
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
Web 2.5. So that is
So
something that people.
your feelings or what you experience is especially developer change from Web 2 to Web 3, but Web 3 doesn't exist the way they hoped it is already. So we need more time to grow, and then they are kind of going back to Web 2.5.
Yeah, I would say a lot of startups. Yeah, for the startups, if they raise fund, whatever, uh, the core is the business model, right? If we talk about business model, you need to have revenue, right? At this moment, I think the mass adoption huge problem. Yeah, if we talk about metaverse, whatever, and yeah, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. Decentraland has only I forgot the news. I don't know, 38 daily users, active daily users, in fact, and then their valuation is billions, right? So that doesn't work. So I saw a lot of startup there. They are more or less trying to integrate to what we. I think it's more practical way. It is practical, start from where we are and try to bridge and to guide people to where we go, right? And otherwise, it's in the air. That's also very difficult. Yes.
Understand. So, Sunny, I think we can go on talking for hours,
Oh
but
yeah.
we always thought that it's nice to keep it like half an hour or something like that, and we always wanted to close like with two questions. And the first question is there a topic you would like to know more about, and why don't you yet, or why don't you know more about it yet?
Yeah, I think the metaverse is a topic I definitely would like to know more, and I think it has too little emphasize at this moment. For instance, everybody's talking about blockchain, crypto, but metaverse is a really different structure because blockchain is just one layer, and you also need to look at the other
Yes.
technology like virtual reality, augmented reality, and not only that, for instance, also avatar or digital identity, whatever. And I find that that part is still missing at this moment. Yeah, obviously you can observe in Frankfurt they do not have any program for metaverse at this moment, and but could be that that is
Oh,
something
wow,
we can
that's
do.
true. You
Yeah.
can implement it.
In fact, I have that idea. Why not? Why not let we create metaverse talents, right? For the next year.
That's a great idea. Yeah. So you just need, I guess, you just need more time, because time
Yeah,
is always the problem in the crypto space, because there's so many new things upcoming, and
exactly.
it's hard to learn about everything.
Yeah, and also,
So the last
oh,
thing, we always ask, like, can you tell us your favorite crypto stories in 30 seconds? Like, what has happened and you really like to let our audience know? Like, once upon a time.
well, in fact, I more or less already said about that. And the most fascinating things about crypto or blockchain to me is the power of building and power of reshape the future. And well, I would say you will see the beautiful sky in the 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. You will, if you keep dreaming, keep building, and keep moving forward. Yeah, that's basically it is like
Thank
that.
you so much. I think these are great and amazing last words, and I think it should encourage everybody to learn and to grow, and to really challenge your own thoughts, and go out, do something, and learn. Sunny, I'm super, super glad and happy we had you here at Blocktails. And yeah, you're really an amazing woman with so many learnings and so many great ideas. I really love your energy, and I'm really happy that we had you here. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you
much.
very much, Sarah. Thank you very much. I very enjoyed. I enjoyed very much also in this episode. Thank you.